You guys got your application into the park department for a hempstock at Waterfront Park just in time. What is it you want to do this year?
Well, we want to have a event to talk about hemp for fuel, fiber, food, medicine, and adult social use. And so we want to see hemp restored to produce fuel. It was the primary illuminant for thousands of years for lamps and primary food source as well. It makes more oil, more fiber, more protein than any other plant per land area on the planet. I really believe marijuana prohibition, it's not really about drugs. Drugs are a smokescreen. It's really about fuel, fiber, and the continued centralization of economic and political control. Hemp, Henry Ford even made a car that ran on hemp, and the body of it was made with hemp fuel and hemp oil. Oil and hemp fiber. Well, and so that's what it's about.
Yeah, well, when you hear the words Hempstalk Festival, we kind of get it with a wink and a nod. This is about legalizing marijuana.
Well, we're completely in favor of ending marijuana prohibition and stop arresting adults for marijuana. That's what part of it's about. But you have to do that to remove the artificial economic barriers that are imposed by marijuana prohibition, so hemp can be used for fuel, fiber, and food again. I mean, you can get hemp food in most natural food stores, but it comes from Canada. We need U.S. farmers to start producing it.
Now, the last year's was held at Kelly Point Park, if I'm not mistaken, and the city and the Parks Department said we had a range of problems, and this is a quote from them, deliberately indifferent to the rampant presence, sale, and use of marijuana, which was not part of the deal. And I realize you can't control everybody when they come to these things, but you're going to put on a hempstock festival. This is what people are going to do.
Well, we're going to search the bags of people going in and make sure there are no weapons, no drugs, no illegal alcohol brought into the park. We haven't been able to do that. Kelly Point is an open area. There's no parking around there. When we go back to Waterfront Park, it's going to be easy to fence that in. We'll be searching the people coming in. I don't think, we're not going to be doing a body cavity search or anything. You can't stop people from taking drugs into prisons. You hear people dying of heroin overdoses in their prison cells.
Exactly.
But, we think by moving to install some more controls that will make it more acceptable and less onerous to people who don't want us to be there.
Is this a serious festival, or is this an opportunity for people to come from all over the United States and the world to get stoned in Portland?
This is not a smoke yet. We are not out there to enact a civil disobedience program. We're there to educate people about hemp for fuel, hemp for fiber, hemp for food. Really, truly, hemp makes more oil, more fiber, more protein than any other plant on this planet. And that's the real reason it was made illegal. They made up this whole marijuana myth specifically to hide, because when they made it illegal, nobody knew what marijuana was, but everybody knew what hemp was. And so they couldn't have made hemp illegal. But by saying that marijuana was a deadly new drug, when hemp is actually one of the oldest crops, by making up these lies, they were able to prohibit it and demonize it.
There's hemp clothing, I understand. I haven't seen it myself, but I know it's out there.
Yeah, there is, and unfortunately most of it's imported from China. So, in fact, the country China, before they became the middle country, which is their name for China, they call America the beautiful country. They called their own country, until about 1500, the hemp and mulberry country.
All right, Paul Stanford is one of the organizers of Hempstock 2014. He's the executive director, as a matter of fact, of Hempstock and the festival. How many people, show up at this? Seriously, I mean, are we talking about thousands of people, or is this just a couple of hundred? And why is the city worried about this?
The city said we had 80,000 people there out at Kelly Point Park last year. It grows every year. We're also the sponsors of the Seattle Hemp Fest, where they have over 200,000 people come down to the waterfront in Seattle every year.
That's a remarkable number. Really, 80,000?
Oh, yeah. The Seattle Hemp Fest is huge, and we really had 80,000 at our event last year, and the Seattle Hemp Fest has well over 200,000.
Okay, so if we're talking about Waterfront Park all of a sudden for 80,000 people over how many days, 3 days, you're going to need a large area.
Yeah, we do.
And the city has not guaranteed you this space, but it sounds like you have one person on your side, or at least willing to consider granting you this permit, and that's the mayor, Charlie Hales.
Yeah, the mayor and the city council have taken over running the Alberta Street Fair, and they realize the difficulties inherent in putting on a festival, and so they've shown some compassion in terms of, the police really don't want us to do this. In fact, back in 1995, we did an event at the Waterfront Park, and the police had a counter event with SWAT cars and helicopters and speedboats. So the police have always been kind of against this. So the mayor has come out and ordered the Parks Department to give us another opportunity because they turned down our permit earlier this year. We went before the city council in an unprecedented kind of hearing before the city council, and the mayor directed the Parks Department to open up a new slot so that we could have our event at Waterfront Park.
Okay, so, you say it's not a smoke fest, but last year's kind of, according to all reports and all intents and purposes, turned into a smoke fest. Why should the people of Portland, Oregon get behind you and say, let them have their festival?
Well, free speech is a cherished right for Americans, and we are exercising our First Amendment rights to address our grievances that hemp and marijuana should be legalized and restored to their rightful place in our economy.
Paul Stanford, we appreciate you being on with Mark and Dave.
Thanks for having me. I'd like to have your listeners go to hemp.org, HEMP.org.
Hemp.org. When are you going to hear if they're going to allow this?
I'm not sure exactly, 2 or 3 weeks.
All right. Very good. And the idea is to have it at the end of September, one of the last weekends in September?
Exactly, sometime in September.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it and have you back. Let's talk about it again when a decision is made.
Thanks for having me, sir.
Paul Stanford, Executive Director of the Hempstalk Festival. Make sure we have that right.